right, let's dive into one of the most unsettling and frankly inexplicable emergency calls ever recorded. This is a story that just doesn't make sense. It defies logic, it messes with our understanding of how things work, and it asks some seriously chilling questions.
So picture this. It's the dead of night, September 12, 2004 in Cleveland, Ohio. At exactly 2:14 in the morning, a call hits the 911 dispatch center. You know, a time when calls are often at their most desperate. But this was going to be something else entirely.
An operator picks up, ready for anything. But what they were about to hear, and more importantly, where the system said that call was coming from, was something that, according to every official record, just shouldn't have been possible.
Okay, so let's get right to the heart of it, the central paradox of this whole thing. We're talking about a call that came from a ghost phone. And I don't mean that as a figure of speech. This isn't just some glitch in the system. It's the foundation of a mystery that's now lasted for 2 decades.
And this is where it gets really weird. The 911 system logged the call from a payphone at the corner of Detroit Avenue and West 45th. Simple enough, right? The problem is, city records confirmed that exact payphone, the whole thing, the wiring, the structure, was physically ripped out of the ground 5 years earlier. It just wasn't there.
So, who or what is making a call from a phone that doesn't exist? Well, to even begin to understand the voice that was eventually heard on that line, we have to go back in time. We need to talk about the man at the center of this whole story, Officer Daniel Goss.
Officer Daniel Goss was a dedicated Cleveland patrolman. His story had a very definitive and very tragic ending on Halloween night back in 1987. He was killed in the line of duty, and just 3 days later, his body was cremated. As far as the world was concerned, his story was over.
And this timeline, this is really the heart of the mystery. Think about these dates. Officer Goss dies in 87. 12 years go by and the phone is removed. 5 years after that, this impossible call comes in. And then it took another 20 years before any of us even heard about it. That's a 17-year gap between the officer's death and his supposed call from a phone that wasn't there.
All right, now for the main event. Let's get to the core piece of evidence. The 42-second audio recording that the Cleveland Police Department kept under lock and key for 2 whole decades.
The call starts, and it is not what you'd expect. There's this faint, absolutely terrified whisper from a woman, almost completely lost in the static. He's in the walls. The operator tries to get a response, but gets nothing back.
And then, silence. Well, not quite silence. For almost a minute, all the operator can hear is this crackling static and what really sounds like slow, strained breathing. It's an incredibly tense, unnerving piece of audio to listen to.
Then, just before the line clicks and goes dead, a totally new voice comes on. It's completely different. This one is calm, it's professional, it's crystal clear. And it says, "This is Officer Daniel Goss, badge 1847. I've been down here since '87.
So what do you even do with a call like that? Well, the department's reaction was immediate. Supervisors were called in, the tape was pulled, and the official story they eventually came up with, well, it just raised way more questions than it answered.
So the official line was that it must have been a prank call rerouted through old wiring. But that theory just completely falls apart. I mean, for one, the phone number had been officially decommissioned. The physical hardware, as we know, was long gone. And maybe the most compelling thing, several veteran officers who actually knew Goss personally listened to the tape and swore that the voice was unmistakably his.
So because that official explanation didn't hold any water and the other possibilities were just too disturbing, the recording was classified as sensitive and basically buried. It stayed hidden until a retired dispatcher finally leaked it onto an internet forum in 2024. But the story doesn't end with the leak. Oh no! Once audio engineers got their hands on this recording, they started analyzing all the background noise and the acoustics. And they uncovered new layers that make this whole mystery even more chilling.
The forensics here are just staggering. They found that the ambient sound on the recording is a perfect acoustic match for the basement of the county morgue. You can hear a faint sound of ice cracking, even though it was a pretty mild 68-degree night. And the most disturbing part? Audio analysis suggests the man's voice is resonating as if it's coming from inside a small, sealed underground box, which makes absolutely no sense because, remember, Officer Goss was cremated.
So let's just put this all together for a second. 17 years after his ashes were scattered, a police officer who died in 1987 apparently picked up a phone that had been gone for 5 years.
just to tell the world exactly where he still was. This is one of those cases with absolutely no easy answers. You have a technical impossibility, a voice that seems to be from beyond the grave, and forensic evidence that just digs the hole of mystery even deeper. So it leaves us with one final, haunting question. What do you think happened on that 911 line?
The partial 911 recording is linked in the description and pinned comment below. The rest was too disturbing for YouTube.